Welcome back to Slanted Chalk, where regular dads raising competitive junior athletes tell the truth about the grind. Today, we sit down with Freddie Cruz, father of Lucky Cruz, the Houston kid who went from Snoopy plastic golf clubs to the finals of drive, chip, and putt at Augusta National. Freddie talks about family life with four kids, the moment golf found Lucky, the roller coaster of recruiting from early wins to D1 offers, NIL deals, and the decision every parent dreams of: college or pro. Let's dive right in. Fred, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start from the beginning. Give us a snapshot of your family. What's life like in the Cruz household right now?
So we have a family of four. We have four kids. My wife and I, today's our anniversary, 25 years married.
Holy cow, congratulations.
Yeah.
And she
Awesome.
let you do this? Tell her
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no. The trade-off was a bottle of wine, bath, and candles and all that. And
Okay.
So we're good. It's interesting. It's been a blessing, but it's been a lot of rock and rolling ups and downs in our family. We family of four. I have, Lucky. I have my son Rocco, who's autistic. He's nonverbal autistic. He walks on his toes and all that, and says one word to communicate. He's 15. He's as big as a defensive end. He's like 6'2", just really gnarly, but he's a big teddy bear. But he's with us. He's going to live with us for the rest of his life. And then Lucky. Right. So that changes the dynamic of like how we do things as a family, because we have special needs that'll be with us forever.
Bless you guys.
And then I have my daughter's Lion, who's 10 years old, who now wants to be an inspiring basketball player and play the violin. So that's rock and roll, right? And then my little daughter, Evie, who will be 3 in November 20th. And got a dog, Apollo, who's at my feet right now, and 2 dogs outside, chickens and ducks. And yeah, that's our life in a nutshell. I mean,
so good old country boy.
Yes, and it's I'm happy with that aspect of my life because, growing up in the family that we worked and we grinded, there is no if, ands, or buts because we work hard. So my son knew that, but it was something that he loved to do. So I didn't want it to be something that was forced on him. Golf found him. As I told you before, and I'll be quick with the story. I bought him the 2K13 Tiger Woods video game. I bought him a Snoopy set of clubs, the plastic ones. And 6 months into it, he's playing the game. He's Tiger Woods, and he's taking a plastic club. He's swinging like he's Tiger. And I'm like, wow, let's get him a set of clubs, and let's take him to the range and see what happens. I take him to the range, and he's hitting balls like he's been hitting balls for a year, just cranking them out there. So I get a whole crowd of people at Herman Park, like, who is this kid, and who are you? I'm like, dude,
and how old was this?
This is when he was 5 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so the thing was, let's go to the course. I'll get you a hot dog and a Gatorade, and let's have fun and see what happens. So he loved it. He really gravitated towards it. And I said, okay, I found our father and son thing to do on Sundays and when I'm off, right? Well, we did 2 years of that. No competitive golf, just me and him hanging out, hitting balls, funny stories of us being on the golf course. We ended up going to an event to raise money for kids that can't afford cancer treatment for themselves. It's called Base Camp. It's out of Florida. And it's at Champions Gate. And my buddy at the time, Ryan Thomas, was the director of golf at Champions Gate. And he was like, hey, you need to get down here. And I'm like, well, what's going on? He's like, your son just shot a 27 on a par 25 that David Ledbetter par 3 course. Now, let me remind you, he's 7 years old with a little Linksky bag. And there's 4 clubs in it, remember? Like right. the 60-wood sandwich, a 3-wood, a hybrid, and a driver. And it's another, and small.
Never yet.
So my buddy's like, have you ever gotten them in tournaments? Do you know anything about, competitive golf for kids? It's like, I have no clue. None. So he was like, okay. He gave me a list. He's like, okay, you live in Texas, STPGA in Texas. There's U.S. Kids. And he's like, just get him started there. So I did. We went home, and I signed him up for his first 5-hole tournament, and he won it. All right. And then the next one, he got second place. But then the parents came up to me and was like, listen, it's a 5-hole tournament. He's doing really good. He won the first one. He won the second one. This is really great. So we did about 3-4 months of that. And then I asked him, I said, you ready for 9 holes? right? So then we started doing 9 holes, and then goodness, from that it evolved to STPGA, Prestige, U.S. Kids. By 9 years old, he took us to the U.S. Kids World Championship. We got our first letter from Stanford. I remember it was a big deal for me because I was like, what the hell? Who's sending a 9-year-old kid a letter, right? But
Right.
Stanford said, congratulations on Worlds. Here's the itinerary. Here's the thing you fill out. And we just love to know who you are. So, like, me, hairs the back of my neck stick up. I'm like, let's go. You know what I mean? And that's how it started. It's crazy.
And then you go off to drive, chip, and putt finals. I remember seeing you guys on TV.
That's a funny story. Okay, so drive, chip, and putt. My son's first deal with drive, chip, and putt. He was 8 years old. He's never been nervous before competing. Right? It was so funny. So we're warming up, blasting balls. They're getting ready to say his name, and you know how you get nervous and it gets to your stomach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he turns to me. He's like, "Dad, I got to go to the bathroom. I got to go to the bathroom." And I'm like, "Okay, let's go to the bathroom." I haul butt in the cart. Turns out he was just nervous. And I look at him and I was like, "Kiddo, listen to me. Once you hit your first ball, you'll be fine. Just relax. Right. This is what happens." It's hard to explain that because, remember the first time you were ever nervous? I remember, but it was Little League, right? So I didn't really know how to. I just said, "You'll get over it. Trust me. Just go there and swing." Right? So he did. And he missed the first drive, scored it. He hit 2 good drives. We didn't make it, right? But after like 2 years, 3 years attempts, right? Let's see, he's 10, 11, 12. It's 13, year 13, right? I tell him, I said, "Look, Lucky, we got a huge schedule. We did Future Masters. We're on a national schedule now because he's 13. The wheels are turning. He's playing." I was like, "I don't know if you really want to do this. Like, it's a waste of time, kind of." So he's like, "No, Dad, I want to do this for me. I can make it." So this is what I told him. And if you know me, this is a big statement. This is your deal. I don't want any part of it. I'm going to drive you there. If you make it, no expectations, because this does not reflect you as a golfer. You're a fantastic golfer, right? So we go there, crushes it, wins it. So we go to the next one. Where was that at? Oh, Black Horse. Crushes it, wins it. So we get to the semifinal in Alotian Club in Arkansas. And I'm like, "Look, dude, whatever happens, happens. Like, I only tell you one thing. The wind is picked up from the right. Hit a 3-wood because at Alotian, there's where they put the setup, there's water to the right. So a lot of kids were hitting their drive, the wind to hit it, take it to the water. So I'm like, listen, just hit a 3-wood, score your ball, and worry about chipping and putting, what you do." So then I started talking to some dads in the back. I didn't even watch them. I was like, running my mouth.
No, you?
Yeah. So then he hits his first 3-wood, 267. Right? Right down the middle. Second one at 13. So then the PGA guy comes over. He goes, "Is that your son?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "That's a bomb with a 3-wood." I'm like, "Cool. Let's see what happens." He puts all 3 in the grid. 265, 263, 267. Right? He goes over and he chips and putts. And it's really tight. It's like the kids are like 2 or 3 points away. I'm talking to a family from Louisiana because they're asking me about Lucky and our journey. And I was just telling them, like, please don't get caught up in the nonsense of arguing with parents in junior golf. Just have fun. And then out of the door, like a banshee, comes Lucky and goes, "I won. I won." So I was like, "Shut up. You didn't win." He's like, "No, I won, Dad. Come in here and look." So we went in. He won by 1 point. So when that door closed, people don't realize that when that door closes, the Masters has their own press team. The Golf Channel was behind the wall waiting to come out. We didn't know they were there. So all of a sudden, boom, a camera's in your face. A microphone. Lucky has it in his hands. Press all over me. Like, my mouth just dropped. I didn't know what the hell to say to anyone because I was so nervous. So he does his interview, and then we went to the Masters. And let me tell you, for every parent out there, every mom, dad, and player listening to this, please do drive, chip, and putt. It is the best experience at a high level that any junior golfer is going to experience, and it's at the Masters. It's 4 days, mom and dad at the Masters, tickets to the practice round. And for the parents, They have open bar from 7 to 11 every day
Enough said.
at the hotel. They sent him to do that, right? But it was just an amazing put together, so well put together event. And we did that. He does the deal with DJ where, and I'll send you the picture with DJ where he gives Dustin Johnson bunny ears.
Yeah, and
really
he puts his arm around him. I remember even
That's right.
seeing that on TV. I was like,
It
who's
was
this kid?
it was look, he totally did that. And the thing was, it's funny. I told him, I said, you've made it. So just have fun. I was like, I don't care you win. We've made it. We're here. We're going to the Masters. We're gonna see Tiger and everyone. Like, this is what it's about. So like that really like his personality came out.
Yeah.
So at the end I had no idea that he was gonna put his arm around him and give him bunny ears. But when they came over and talked to me about it, I said, listen, these are kids, let them have fun. So oh, such a great experience. Please, if anyone can do that, sign up for free. It's drivechipandputt.org, and it's a fantastic event.
So now take us through. So you get through drive, chip, and putt. You go and you play in your U.S. kids, and you play in a lot of junior tournaments. Every parent has dreams of their kids playing D1 golf, right? Take us through that process, and then the ultimate process of making that decision to go
Okay,
pro.
so there's an academic question, and there's
Okay.
the athlete question. And
Okay.
what happened with us is those two collided. So my son's homeschooled. I'm an engineer, so I taught him physics at 9 years old. I taught him the words velocity. I taught him how to calculate his own apex. I taught him how, what inertia was, I equals mr squared. Like, he knew those things, right? So his thirst for knowledge on the science side of golf was there. So we pushed that, and he became really strong academically. I think when he took his first SAT, we didn't even prep for it. He scored like a 1,300 on it. I was like, well, you're in. I mean, it's not even like a question. But so let me get back to the recruiting. So the recruiting, we started with A&M. They sent their letters. And
So your goal was to go D1 first, correct? Your goal was
Yes.
to play next level college golf.
So our goal was to play, well, there's difference, okay? It wasn't just to play D1 golf. It was to play
Okay.
Power 20, Power 5 golf.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is if you're not in the realm of, if you look at the top 20 every year and you say, okay, the Georgias, the Illinois, the Vanderbilts, the Wake Forest, if you're not in that category, it's very difficult for you to become a professional golfer and to get carried on to this next stage, because everyone knows PGA Tour University, they cater towards the Power 20.
Okay.
You could be let's say your average could be 72. I'm not going to say his name, but there's a golfer who played at Texas. His average was 72. He came out of the world rankings and the amateur rankings at number 7. And they walked him on. He played in the U.S. Open, of course. They walked him on the PGA Tour. He didn't make it. And now he's on his 3rd year of Korn Ferry. And he's having a really big challenge of trying to make it and overcome some of the hurdles from junior golf, right? So, knowing that, our goal was, okay, if we're not going to go to a recognizable school in Power 20, then the goal is, our decision tree was, I'll go to school online and I'll turn pro and we'll chase it. But that was literally like, on the decision tree, that was really bottom branch. That was never a thing. So we get to the recruiting process, and Lucky's, he was being recruited by, we had Arkansas, BYU, Long Beach State with Coach Wilson, which I wish he stayed at Long Beach. He ended up going to Colorado. Now he's at Cal. Right? Great guy. Good to talk to on the phone. Really good energy. Coach Wilson at UCF. I talked to the coach at Miami. I found out they didn't have a team in Miami. That's how I found out they didn't have a guys team. And he was like, if you could find me 10 million, we'll have a guys team. I'd love to have Lucky. So, we're doing all that. And then we ended up meeting with the coach at Houston. And this is when he was 14. He qualified for the U.S. Open that year. And we had underrated. That was our first year underrated. So we're having this conversation with Coach Tease. And Coach Tease was like, I know everything about Lucky. I've been following him since he was 9 years old. He lives in Texas. I follow all the guys who are good. Right? So they had an assistant coach there by the name of Gustavo, who's now the assistant at Arkansas. So, which is why we were going to go to Arkansas. That was like a very big push to go to Arkansas. So we get to the recruiting phase, and I tell you, it's really hit or miss. You know, if now that we've been through it, I'm just going to say this: for parents who want to go D1 to a major program, go to the camps, go to their camps, go to their camps, go to their camps. It is such an advantage to get to know them, develop a rapport with them, be on a first name basis. Because if you go to the camps, there's a loophole in the recruiting process that allows coaches to interact with parents and the players and really get into knowing you through the camps rather than the normal recruiting window. And yes, the camps are expensive. They're $1,000 to $2,000, but worth it. So worth it. So back to our recruiting. We got recruited by a couple Ivy League schools. Columbia, Coach Mueller at Columbia really wanted Lucky to go to Columbia. Thought it was a great school. As a physics major, I mean, it's a no-brainer. But Lucky wanted to play college golf, right? So we ended up going back to Houston, and we committed to Houston at 14. Full ride scholarship, committed to Houston. We talk about the NIL stuff later, right? And we thought we're making a good decision for him to stay home. It's close to home. Downtown Houston from us is like 45 minutes, you know? So the two from A&M to Houston, you know, A&M's a great school, but the campus is like, it's not great. It's just not great. It's just not it's not. But the athletes are treated well, and that aspect are treated really well. But, you know, I was interested in what's college life look like? Is it beautiful? Do you love coming here? Like, I was a big fan of telling my son, like, if you love wearing the colors that you wear for your school, then you're going to the right school, right?
Right.
And that's a big thing, you know, because you'll get up and go to class, you'll do everything right, you'll get there early, like you're enthusiastic about being part of the program. So we have, you know, we pick up a new swing coach who used to coach at University of Lamar and made it to the NCAA finals at University of Lamar. A lot of South Africans. He runs the Houston Open golf tournament. His name's Coach Brian White. And he comes out of that group of Claude Harmon, Butch Harmon, all those guys. So he's a very big name in that group. So Coach Taylor Gooch, Mark O'Mara, when he won the Masters, who was his coach. So he brings up this thing. He says, hey, you know, I follow Lucky on social media. I'm seeing all the stuff that's happening with him. Is Houston the place where he can go and grow? Or is it a place that we have to continue marketing him to be a dynamic player to get those exemptions in the future? Because we don't see a lot of guys from Houston getting the exemptions as they do from Texas or so. So like, he plants that seed in my head, and I'm thinking, well, I mean, we've already picked Houston. Let's just see how this plays out, right? So what I'll backtrack and talk about is the interactions with coaches after you've committed. We really didn't have a lot of interaction. Like, we got tickets to the UT Texas Houston game. I ended up meeting the boosters. The president of the booster club, Mike Pedetta, was more of a recruiting and a fan of Lucky for him to come to Houston than the program itself. It was just like, we check the box and we move on, right? So that kind of like was a little bit of a red flag for me, right? So then we go and we visit the school. We meet the physics department, and they're like, well, you're going to be aggressive on your schedule. You probably can't play golf. So then Lucky was like, well, great, I'll become an architect. So Houston has the #1 architecture school in the country. Like, they're really good. So we visit there. It's beautiful. It's great. And then Coach Diz is like, listen, either you become an architect or you play golf. He's like, it's not both. It's either one or the other. So then I get this list of like communications, marketing, business, and then like sociology, right? So then I'm kind of like upset because you're taking the academic away from him playing for the school, right? So now my thoughts are, okay, well, if we're going to make this decision purely on golf, and they're telling us it's not academic, but purely golf, then we need to go to a bigger school, right? So, and our swing coach agreed with me. He's like, well, you need to go to Arkansas. He's like, my buddy's at Arkansas. Coach Gustavo's at Arkansas. Let's make that happen. But the thing was, Lucky had to get on social media and publicly decommit to let all the coaches know that, hey, I'm still available. So a real interesting tick for tack, right? So Coach Diz decided there's this recruiting software or program that's out there for all D1 coaches. It's called Allegora Golf, right? And it says everything about Lim, everything about Lucky, what's their average, what they shoot, what the tournament schedule, everything about them. So we end up playing in the Western Junior, college coaches everywhere. These coaches come up to me and they're like, I would love to have Lucky at our program, but you're going to Houston. And I'm like, wait a minute, we decommitted like 2 months ago. We're open. So the same scenario with every single coach: Purdue, Indiana, Baylor coach, Stevenson's coach, or Stenson's coach, Eastern Michigan coach, Coach Andy. So then I started to be like, okay, wait a minute, what's going on? So we get done doing that. We get a call from BYU. And BYU, it was their boosters who called us. The guys in charge of the NIL money, the guys in charge of marketing the program and building it. It wasn't the coach. So they put together NIL and said, hey, this is the money. We'd love for Lucky to come here. We'll talk to Coach Miller and the coach there that's handing it over to Coach Miller. And we want Lucky to play at BYU, right? So Lucky and I had the conversation about BYU. We're not Mormon, but what a better place to go and focus on your game and not be distracted by the world of college and parties and all that. BYU is kind of really tame in that aspect. So that was attractive to us. At the same time, we had the conversation with Coach JP at UNLV. So it was either UNLV, BYU, UNLV, BYU. So we go to UNLV. We went to Vegas for a tournament. Oh, it was underrated. Remember that?
Yep.
Yeah. So underrated. We go meet with Coach JP. We went and played at Southern Highlands. JP loved Lucky. He said he had some really interesting things. He was going to come watch us at OWGR that year. And then BYU's coach was now calling us and said, okay, listen, I'm coming down to Houston. I'm going to go to the BYU Classic golf tournament hosted by TJGT. It's a big event. It's at Golf Club of Houston. I really would like Lucky to play, and I'm going to recruit him there and see if he's good enough to go to BYU or not. I'm like, great. So I take that text message, send it to them because the registration was closed. They made an exemption, and they let Lucky play in the tournament because it was already closed. Lucky goes 67, 68, or 67, 65, one of the two. He shoots 11 under in 2 days, blows the field by 9 strokes. And they had 2 kids. One was in a junior college, and another kid who was getting actually recruited by BYU. He just beat him by 9 strokes. So, Coach Miller comes over to us and was like, well, he shot, 5 or 600 today. Let's see what he does tomorrow. He does it again with him watching. And he's like, well, I don't know if I have room for him because of the new roster rule. We only got 8 guys. We don't know if it's going to affect or not. And, I told the coach, I said, with all due respect, look, we're at Golf Club of Houston. We're playing from the tips. It's 73, almost 74. He shoots 11 under. I don't think your kids could come down from BYU and shoot that. I'm just going to be honest with you. I know who your kids are, right? So either you want my son there or you don't. And he's from Texas, and it makes sense. And that's just being honest, right? Because, when you get recruited, you check the team scores, you check for their studs and who their studs are.
Absolutely.
And all that. So, I think their last name's Spencer or something. They were going to go on mission. So there was an opening for Lucky to play at BYU. And then BYU signs Kihei. We kind of go to BYU. Kihei and him meet. They play together. Their energy together is fantastic. I mean, they hit it off. They would have been like 2 peas in a pod. And they were. For the 3 days we were there, they were great. Get the call from the coach from BYU. And he goes, well, Fred, I talked with the Houston coach, and, apparently you're doing a lot of the negotiations, and I don't know if we have room for Lucky or not. And, Coach Diz loves Lucky, but they don't like me, right? I said, okay, here's the beauty of it, Coach. Once he goes to college and he's under your wing, he's under your wing. I got 3 other kids to worry about. So my goal is to get him to you, and you guys do your thing. And the NIL group has already promised us, they promised us a house, a car, and money for Lucky. I mean, everything that you can ask for that you need. I mean, it was not astronomical, but it was enough. Right? So the coach says, okay, let me think about it. I'm going to move things around. At the same time, we're talking to JP. at UNLV. And I said, JP, we got Q school for La Hira, the professional tour of Mexico, coming up. It's OWGR. It's a ranked professional tour. I think he's 15 to 16 in that transition, right? Or 15, kind of 15. Yeah, 15. And I said, well, if he makes it in Q school, we're going to have a serious conversation because it's not my call. It's my son's call. Because at this point, I asked Lucky, I'm like, well, what do you want to do? Here are your options. What do you want to do? And we do the pros and cons on paper, and then we go from there. So then Lucky's like, well, Dad, look, if I make it in Q school, we need to have a conversation about me turning pro. Now, I didn't flinch on that because in our decision tree a long time ago at 13, we were like, this could be an option. So
that's where we'll pause for now. In part 2, Freddie opens up about what really happens behind the recruiting curtain, the challenges minority families face in college golf, the moment Lucky earned professional status at 15, and how their family decided to skip the college route entirely. We'll also talk about faith, family, and what it means for a dad to finally step aside and watch his son chase the dream as a pro. Catch part 2 on Slanted Chalk and follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram for clips and updates. Let's keep the chalk dust flying.